Hello, today we are going to discuss about language acquisition theory. There are some advanced theories to describe how language is acquired, learned, and taught. The behaviorist theory, mentalist or innatism, rationalist, and interactionism. Although there are some theories about language acquisition, today we are going to discuss and focus on behaviorist theory. We are going to discuss about the principle, background, and basic tenets. First, the basic principle. Repetition is important for this theory. For example, Danny had to ring bell with foot more than once to condition dog response. And the second is small, concrete, progressively sequenced tasks. Positive and negative reinforcement, consistency in the use of reinforce during the teaching and learning process. Habits and other undesirable responses can be broken by removing the positive reinforce connected with them. Immediate, consistent, and positive reinforcement increases the speed of learning. Once an item is learned, intermittent reinforcement will promote retention. If Danny carried on ringing the bell without food, eventually the dog will stop salivating. Next is the background of this theory. This theory was founded by J.B. Watson. This theory is basically a psychological theory in its essence. It's actually a theory of native language learning advanced in the part as a reaction to traditional grammar. J.B. Watson considered the emphasis on the natural science method. He also thought that all human behavior is a result of conditioning or a result of past experience and environmental influences. He claimed that he could take any child and train him to become any type of specialist. There are a lot of supporters of this theory. They are Leonard Bloomfield, O.M. Mower, B.F. Skinner, and A.W. Stutz. Behaviorism was advanced in America as a new approach to psychology in the early decades of the 20th century, by making a particular emphasis on the importance of verbal behavior and received a considerable thrust from the educational world of 1950s. Next, the basic tenets. First, it dwells on spoken language. That is, primary medium of language is oral. Speech is language because there are many languages without written forms, because we learn to speak before we learn to read and write. Second, behaviorist theory is a habit formation theory of language, teaching and learning, reminding us the learning of structural grammar. Language learning concerns us by not problem solving, but in the formation and performance of habits. In the other words, language learning is a mechanical process leading the learners to habit formation, whose underlying scheme is the conditioned reflex. And the third, the stimulus-response chain is a pure case of conditioning. Behaviorist learning theory emphasizes on conditioning and building from the simplest condition response to more and more complex behaviors. This comes to mean that clauses and sentences are learned linearly as longer and longer stimulus-response chains produced in a left-to-right series of sequences. Fourth, all learning is the establishment of habits as the result of reinforcement and rewards. Positive reinforcement is reward while negative reinforcement is punished. When response to stimuli are coherently reinforced, then habit formation is established. It is because of this fact that this theory is termed habit formation by reinforcement theory. And the last, the learning due to its social condition nature can be the same for each individual. In other words, each person can learn equally if the conditions in which the learning takes place are the same for each person. That's all for our discussion about behaviorists today. Thank you and have a nice day.